Hey, what's up, guys? We're back on the Isaac Indigo podcast. I'm here with Wasi Akin.
What's
He's a
up? What's up?
professional. He's a professional trader. He does a lot of like options and trading and stuff like that. I know nothing about it, so if I say some of the terms a little off, you know why. So he's in the he has his university academy.
Yep.
It's the Sniper Options University with
Option
his part
Snipers University. Yep.
Option Cypress University with his partner Josh.
Yep.
What was Josh's last name?
Josh Alufa.
Josh Alufa.
Yep.
Okay, so we're just gonna go at it and see what is it that he has to offer to be able to let you guys know exactly how to start doing trading,
Yep.
and maybe you guys can get mentorship with him and Josh. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's go
so
into it.
so we could start off with your journey of where you started, like were you kind of like the rags to riches story
Mhm.
type of type of deal?
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, so my story with options trading is pretty much it's a really simple story really. So as far as just working, I started off just working a regular 9 to 5, going into work, clocking in, clocking out. Um, I was working at a specific company for about 6 to 7 years.
Hmm.
And it was a constant rotating door pertaining to my managers at the time. So, at that specific job, there was an idea of, kind of having a good repertoire with the people that are leading you so that you can get, promoted or get a bonus and things like that. Just the whole corporate America structure. So, for quite a while, I was doing great work at work, but then I
Hmm.
was hitting this glass ceiling where I didn't feel like I was getting paid what I deserved with,
Hmm.
using my time, my energy, my resources to better someone else's dream. So, eventually, you know, I just kept hitting my head against the wall, thinking to myself, there has to be another way. And so that's when I started delving into things like, real estate, stocks and ATMs, right? And even trucking at the time. So I was just doing a lot of different research, just trying to figure out what my lane would be.
Hmm.
I eventually ended up stumbling on stocks. My brother, who I'm also doing business with now, he gave me an understanding of how to look at the stock market as more of a tool or an asset tool more so than essentially, kind of just investing passively, right? So we started doing things like trading penny stocks. Now, at the time,
Hmm.
penny stocks were, you know, not too popular at the time, but people were making money doing this.
What
And
time was this?
granted,
I'm sorry. What timeline?
so this was around 2017.
Hmm.
Um, so right around this time, like I said, there wasn't a lot of people trading just in general, talk less of trading, penny stocks, right?
Hmm.
And for what it's worth, looking back at it, it was definitely a risky situation because you should never put your money into any investment vehicle or equity that you have no knowledge or
No.
understanding of. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, even as a result of that, though, there still was money made, right?
Hmm.
And that kind of was the way my I started getting the itch of wanting to learn more about the stock market, wanting to get an understanding of what exactly was occurring in the markets from a day to day perspective, and how people were able to make money doing this consistently, right?
Yeah.
So from there, that meant reading books, watching more videos, investing in more courses, even investing in a mentorship, right? Eventually, I had a friend that was also in the business of looking into the stock market, and at the time was trading something called options. And I was like, options, what's options? And then he just broke it down as basic as he could, at least at the time, to where myself and my brother, and along as well as a couple other people, got a basic understanding of how people were actually making thousands of dollars in a week, sometimes in a day,
Hmm.
trading stock options. And
A-
so,
And
from there, that kind of took us to another level.
hmm. And from there, how long did it take you guys to go from like zero or the smallest amount of money to see a profit?
Yeah. So it was really just based off of how much we ended up putting in, right? So
Hmm.
it was just about the idea of putting in a specific amount of money in order to look towards receiving some sort of gain. So with the people that we were trading with, there was only about 10 of us at the time, and literally, some of us were only trading with a couple $1,000. Others of us were trading with, a couple, maybe a couple, 100,000 at the time, right?
Hmm.
So, but most of us were more so, anything less than 10,000 really was most of us at the time,
Uh,
and outside of a few other people. And so, at that time, it was more so about just figuring out how to take $1 and turn it into two, right? That was really just
mhm.
all it was, right? So, the time in which it took us to be able to just be just generally profitable in the stock market, it didn't take too long. All we had to do was just get a simple understanding of what was occurring, and then follow the trends. So I would say maybe 2 weeks after learning about options trading, some of us were actually profitable. And that was just out of the idea of just the simple understanding of that we had at the time.
Wow. So what were you guys doing right before you guys started getting into that? Was it did you work like just a regular job, or you kind of
Yeah,
had
so
like
we
a
most
pretty good?
most of us all had regular jobs. Most of us had jobs that we were actually either going into work, traveling for work, or just remotely. I
Mhm.
was working in IT, so my job
Nice.
consisted of me going into work or traveling for work.
What kind
Um,
of IT was it? Like selling software, or was it?
so the work I was doing was more so managing software, and I was doing workshops and trainings and things like that on how to actually use the software so that other businesses can be able to, leverage the software to, meet business goals and different things like that.
Nice. That's right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, could you explain like the basics of like trading? Someone that has like no experience, no knowledge of trading, and how they can go from, say, $100 and flip that to at least like maybe $200 or
Yeah.
$300 or how X amount.
Yeah. So trading is essentially just an option. I mean, sorry, it's
Hmm.
just an auction, right?
Auction.
Auction, right? Buying and selling, right? If you ever
Hmm.
been to a car auction, they bring a car up, and then there's people that line up to be buyers, and then there's essentially one seller, which is the auction, right? And
Hmm.
so they start yelling out prices, and then the buyers then kind of fight between themselves to see who ends up being the highest bidder, and then the seller decides to strike the deal and sell to whichever buyer at the time, right? It's very
Hmm.
similar with the stock market. Think of a specific equity as that car, right? So think of,
Hmm.
let's literally take a car company, right? Let's take Tesla's stock, right? You have Tesla, the actual truck and car maker, right? But now let's take the stock itself, right? If I'm on the
Hmm.
sidelines while they bring up Tesla to the front, I'm saying to myself, I believe at this specific point in time, based off of whatever analysis I'm going off of, that Tesla is supposed to rise in price, right?
Hmm.
Then there's someone else saying, well, I believe Tesla is supposed to decline in price based off of this time frame, based off of this data. Okay.
Hmm.
Whichever person you decide to be, if you're a buyer that believes it's supposed to be going to increase, then you're going to buy what's called calls, right? Because you're calling up, right? Now,
Hmm.
if you believe that the Tesla stock is going to go down, then like the other person, then you would purchase what's called a put, right? So when you put down, right? So you're calling
Hmm.
because you're calling up, meaning the stock is going up, right? And then you're putting because you're putting something down, right? Putting something down, right? So that's how you know whether you're going to buy a call or a put. Okay, you call up, you put down, right? So,
Hmm.
based on that simple understanding, once I do the correct analysis on the charts or just based off of potential news that I might read, I would then decide to do a purchase of a call or a put. And then based on whatever happens during that specific period of time, I then decide when I become profitable in that scenario or when I decide to cut my losses. Okay. That's essentially what it means to be a trader, especially
Mm-hmm.
specifically options trading, right? It's the idea of believing in a stock or an equity going up or down and essentially putting your money on the line. But here's the deal with options trading: you only have to be right for as long as you decide to hold on to a contract. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
what that means is, if I believe Tesla is going up, I can only need to believe that for a specific period of time. Once I no longer believe it, I can then decide to sell my contracts. That means to say that Tesla can then go down after I sell it, but I've already generated my profit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it this way. Think about it as, if there's a rare collector's item, let's say a pair of Jordans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say these Jordans are the only Jordans to have ever existed. At that period of time, the price of those Jordans is extremely high, through the roof, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, because it's the only Jordan, now the seller can decide to name whatever price, right? Which is going to be a really high price. But what's
Mm-hmm.
going to end up happening if Jordan releases that very same shoe and that shoe no longer is the only collector's item shoe? What happens to the price of that shoe? It goes down.
It goes down, yeah.
It goes down, right? Because it's not the only one anymore.
Mm-hmm.
However, the seller had already sold the shoe before the price went down. So they've already generated their profit. It's the same exact thing with the stock market. You don't have to be right throughout the entirety or the history of the market. You only have to be right for the specific period of time that you have done your research for. So if you've done your research for only a day of what you believe the trend or the trajectory of that stock is supposed to go, then that's all of the time that you need to be right. You don't have to be right for the whole period of time. So that's
Mm-hmm.
essentially the whole idea of the basics of options trading, how to make money within options trading, and the mindset you have to have when it comes to being an options trader.
So, what was like your investments that you would go to, or the ones that you studied first? Was it like certain things that you already knew, like say you knew like certain type of like shoe, or like say a medicine that is kind of like very needed at the time? Like say like during COVID, like I'm pretty sure a lot of like medicine companies were going up in stock and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. So I could talk a little bit about that. There's different investment strategies that you could utilize when trading in the stock market, right? So sometimes there are individuals that trade what's called fundamental analysis. Some people trade what's called technical analysis, right? So
Mhm.
it really just depends on what type of trader you are and what type of comfortability level you have, based on
Mhm.
what your lifestyle is as a trader, or what your mindset and your methodology is as a trader, right? Now, with that being said, the whole idea from that standpoint is turning $1 into and then making it into two, right? So
Mhm.
when approaching the market, we're looking at different things like volatility, volume, momentum. All those words simply mean is how many people are involved in this specific stock. Okay. And the way
Mhm.
we make money is we make money when there's the most people available trading that specific stock. Okay. Because
Mhm.
when the most people are there, that allows the price to fluctuate more, right? And when the price fluctuates more, that's where you get the gaps in how much money you end up making. Okay.
Mhm.
For instance, if two people are trading back and forth, $1 to make $1.01, 1 cent, $1.01 to make $1.02.
Mhm.
If there's only two people trading each other, you're not going to get large increments in your profit, right? However, if you
Yeah.
have a large amount of people trading one one commodity at a time, then that's when you're going to have that large range. Okay. And that's where your profit is. Okay. So that's why we
Mhm.
want to always trade a stock that has the most buyers or the most interested people in that stock. Now, for me at the time, that was Apple. Okay. Apple Corporation or the Facebook Corporation or Microsoft or Netflix or Google. Okay, these are typically the top 5 to 6 companies in the stock market that are being traded. So those were the
Mhm.
investments I was looking at first and foremost when I started trading options.
Can someone invest in certain things that are basically like underdogs? Like I was saying, kind of like before COVID, if someone knew like there was a tragic like world apocalypse or something like that,
Yeah.
and you're able to figure out, okay, people are going to start getting like penicillin,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Does that
Yeah.
increase or like does that boost up your
Yeah, for
option or
sure,
your
for
stock?
sure. Yeah, because even something like for instance, like during COVID, you had a stock like Peloton, right? Peloton
Mhm.
wasn't really a company that was, relevant in the stock market prior to COVID. Why?
Mhm.
Because it really wasn't even a profitable company before COVID. So when you had COVID come about, now we started thinking about companies that aligned with the trend of COVID, which meant that people were now leaving the gyms and coming and staying home to work out. So any home workout companies at that point in time, any company within that industry was going to be profitable off of COVID-19, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So Peloton is a perfect example of a stock that at one point of time was considered an underdog stock per se, as you highlighted.
Mhm.
But then, as a result of the popularity of the business, then people became investors of the business, and then from then, the stock began to increase. So, if you were an early investor in Peloton, at least initially, and you sold your stocks at the height of the pandemic, that would have still been in the year 2020. Okay.
Mhm.
Then you would have made tons of money. You would have made your money 5, 6, 7 times over. Okay. Even within just a span of maybe 6 to 7 months. Right.
Yeah.
Just as a result of being a early investor, someone that knows or potentially had an idea of whatever trend was potentially occurring at that specific time.
Yeah, like TikTok was blowing up. I think it got like 2 billion downloads within like 6 months or 3 months. It was like a world record of a company being able to do that, like a social media company being able to do that so fast. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was that's actually a great segue there, because there was actually a time similar, like right around that area during COVID, where when there were talks of Microsoft acquiring TikTok. Now imagine Microsoft acquiring TikTok. What is that going to do to Microsoft stock?
Could would it bump up or?
It would definitely bump up, right? You're
Mm,
talking about TikTok being one of the main social media platforms now, right? We're talking about back then, this was still 2020. So we're talking
mhm,
about an early transition into, for Microsoft coming into the social media game. Now, this was all speculation. Obviously, eventually, Microsoft didn't acquire TikTok, but just the news, just the rumor itself, ended up significantly impacting Microsoft stock, at least positively at that point in time. Now, when news came out that obviously it was potentially no longer occurring, then residually you started to see Microsoft stock go incrementally the other way,
mhm.
right? But that's literally my whole point of what I said about being right earlier, right?
Yeah.
Because the stock market is an up and down situation. We're paid to be right for only a specific amount of time. For instance, during that period of time when Microsoft was about to acquire TikTok, I
Mhm.
made about $6,000 from that news cycle alone, right?
Wow.
Within about 2 to 3 days. Okay. I made $6,000. Now,
Mhm.
that $6,000 came and went, obviously, at that point in time. But if we go back to 2020, that $6,000 was in my pocket. By the time they now released the information about Microsoft no longer acquiring TikTok, that $6,000 is still in my pocket. However, Microsoft, the stock itself, ends up going to the downside. That doesn't affect me though, because I've already sold my profits to receive the gains from that transaction, right? So
Mm.
that's literally the whole scenario of how we trade options at Option Snipers University.
Wow. What are some unique like challenges that traders face like when dealing with SPX and
Mhm.
SPY options?
Yeah. So SPX and XPY is literally the highway or the fast lane of trading. Okay, this is because the S&P 500 index is literally the most liquid index in the stock market. What that means
Mm-hmm.
is it has the most people trading it at any given point in time. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so if you are on the wrong side of a trade and a trade happens fast, then you start losing money pretty fast. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, based on your analysis, if you do make the right decision, then the opposite is equally true. You make so much money extremely fast. Okay. I've seen the most money get made the fastest. Okay. I've seen $15,000 be made in about 3 minutes versus 1,000 maybe made over the course of an entire day, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that lends itself to kind of the um the adage of it's easier to make a lot of money in a little bit of time versus making a lot of money in a longer period of time. Okay, so the whole idea of options trading is just the speed and execution. So as far as a newer trader and their reluctancy or maybe their difficulty trading SPX or SPY, it's just more so along the lines of just the speed in which things are actually occurring. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But here at Option Snipers University, how we trade allows us to alleviate those issues of anxiety potentially or fear pertaining to trading the most liquid stock, because there's so much to gain from trading only SPX or SPY. So that would be my answer to that.
And what would you share like the best way of options trading? Like for is there any like other types of like secrets or anything that you can like add to? I know I kind of like asked you that in the beginning, but
Yeah.
what would be like another strategy or secret when it comes to like options trading?
Well, one big strategy is just a trading strategy called swing trading. And this essentially allows you to purchase a trade basically towards the end of a day and then wait until the following day for your profits, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
this is out of the idea of a hopeful expectation that something is to occur positively to whichever equity you're trading, right? So let's say for instance Amazon, right? Amazon has Amazon Prime Day. Well,
Mm-hmm.
whatever day they decide to release the information on how much money they earn on Amazon Prime Day, that may
Mm-hmm.
be a good idea to either purchase calls or purchase puts. If you feel like they did a great job this year, then that may be a good opportunity for you to buy calls, right? Potentially. Okay, I'm not saying this is definitely not investment advice, because
Mm-hmm.
the same exact thing could be as equally true. Being Amazon Prime Day, if they just if they come out with news and say that they didn't perform as well as they hoped to have performed during Amazon Prime Day, then what you'll start seeing is a decline in the stock, right? Potentially. So then it would have behooved you to then buy puts, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it just depends on what you believe something is supposed what you believe is supposed to occur based off of whatever analysis you put into a trade. But that would be a strategy to use. Again, that's called swing trading, where you would purchase a contract one day and then you would sell the contract the following day for a gain.
And what would you expect? What would a student expect from Options Snipers University?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, with Option Snipers University, we're an evergreen, ever learning platform. And what that means for us is that, some other individuals do things like just sell courses, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
they have a static video that stays up for years and years at a time, and people learn from that information. While we do have a video course, what we know at the same time is that there's so many different changes that occur in the stock market. Literally, what during the duration of us being here as a university, the stock market has changed drastically. So there's been a need for us to actually change our course material. What that meant to us was that we needed to have more hands on the ground. So what we do is we have and host a live training across the country, right? Primarily in Charlotte, North Carolina, but we are in Atlanta, Texas, California, DC, Chicago,
Yeah.
pretty much Miami, across the country, delivering our um, our 3 day wealth mastery weekend trainings, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
what that consists of is coming to where we are, learning from us in person on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, on Thursday and Friday, we actually trade together as a group, right? And that's literally in the market in real time. So we're trading together because here's the deal: most newer traders just have a problem pressing the button. Like, I just need someone to tell me that I'm doing the right thing because this is money on the line, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
we say to ourselves, well, instead of just being available virtually, if you could actually meet us in person, we could actually inject the confidence into you in person so that while you are away on your own, you could still have the confidence to make the right decisions in the markets. So that's why we host the Thursday and Friday that would be during market hours where we're trading together and making money together as well
Mm-hmm.
during the training. Like, there's nowhere else
That's
you're going
that.
to actually make money during your training hours at the same time. It's literally incredible, right? And
So
then
what
on
was? Sorry.
Saturday, sorry about that. And then on Saturday, we essentially do a in-depth training session and Q&A session to end the weekend, right? So we go to dinner as well. We do lunch together during the weekend. It's an entire experience, really. So
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely encourage anyone that's watching this video to tap in and be a part of that. And you could reach out to us on any of our channels. Reach out to me directly, and I can get you situated.
Nice. I was going to ask you, what is the one of the biggest like testimonials from your students, or something that's like recent?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we have really really great testimonials, especially from learning from us in person. We have one of our guys. His name is Rufus. I personally call him Rooftop Rufus because he makes so much money. Okay, I remember when he came to us and learned from us in person. He came to us in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he spent 3 days with us. And from then, we made $300 together right then and there in person.
Wow.
I helped him essentially just adopt the mindset of what it means to be a trader, and
Mm-hmm.
essentially just expelling fear right there in real time. So he ended up making $300, and he has not looked back since. Okay, so this same Rufus that was timid to get in the markets, is now doing consistently 4 to 5 figure weeks. Okay, that's
Wow.
literally $1,000 to $10,000 every single week consistently in the
Wow.
markets. Okay, and this is after about 6 months of training after meeting us in person. Okay, so
Mm.
that's one of my friends, Rufus. I have another guy. His name is Rodney. He was with us for quite a while, but then he joined one of our trainings as well, and then he ended up having a $20,000 week. Okay, twenty thousand
Damn.
dollar week. Okay, that's completely incredible. I mean, this is somebody that wasn't even trading options a year ago. Okay, then we have quite a few other people. I have one of my friends, Ray, who joined us in December of 2022. Okay, he joined us in December of 2022. I have a screenshot of him from, I believe, March of 2023, where he made $31,000 in a day.
Damn.
Okay. That's after 3 months of taking in person direct training from us as far as what we do. So the whole idea of it is, people only believe what they can see usually. And
Yeah.
so my goal as a university professor at Option Cypress University is the idea that, when I am showing the light of other students being able to accomplish the same things I have been able to, be blessed enough to accomplish, it allows other people to also grab on to that hope to say this can be me as well. Because here's what I would say: the biggest detriment to any person that knows about the stock market is not becoming an active participant. Because at the end of the day, we're all participants, either active or passive. Okay. If you have a 401k, you're a passive participant in this in the stock market. Okay. If you're an options trader, then you are an active participant in the stock market. So regarding your profits is going to depend on what side of the fence you're on. Okay. If you're
Hmm.
hoping for your brokerage firm to manage your portfolio for you, you may not necessarily be able to maximize the potential of your money being away in that account. Okay. It may be time to look into alternative ways to meet your goals. And one of those ways that we have become fond of doing so is through options trading with Option Cypress University.
And what would you say the process for submitting contracts, the contract orders, and what should traders keep in mind when they're doing so?
So the process is very simple. One of the first things you want to do is you want to make sure you have a credible brokerage, because usually your brokerage account is going to be a big reason why you are either successful or not trading options. You have to make sure that you are very comfortable with the trading platform that you're going to be using. We at Option Snipers University use Charles Schwab slash TD Ameritrade. They just did a merger, so we're still kind of moving things over on that end. But we use the platform Thinkorswim, which we believe is the industry standard for submitting your orders for buying and selling contracts. So that's how we do that. Okay. And
Mhm.
again, all of this information is what we give our students when it's time to, cut the ribbon and start moving. So yeah.
Mhm. And what would you say the best reasoning options for maximizing profits during trades?
Can you repeat that?
I said, what's like the best reasoning for like options when maximizing trades and stuff like that for maximizing
Um,
profits? Sorry.
yeah, I would say the best reason for options as far as trading is concerned is because the profits are limitless, literally.
Mhm.
Like if you have an options trading calculator and you put in the potential revenue from a specific options trade that you're putting in to buy a call or put, the max realized um number would literally say infinite. And that's because literally, there's infinite possibilities within the markets. Like if a trade goes your direct, I have a friend that literally made 3.1 million off of a $30,000 trade.
Wow.
Okay. 3.1 million, sorry, 3.5 million off of a
Wow.
$30,000 trade. Okay. Meaning he
Mm.
put in $30,000 and made 3.1, 3.5 billion. I'm sorry, million,
Wow.
3.5 million. Okay.
That's crazy.
This is what we're talking about. So that's about 100x, right? That's
Mhm.
multiplying your money times 100. Okay. So that's what I
Mhm.
literally mean by like infinite. Like he didn't know that that's the money that he was going to be making, but the
Mhm.
opportunity presented itself in the markets to whereas that's the outcome that occurred. Right. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah. What would you say, like inflation, would it be beneficial to traders? And how would one prevent like losses in the stock trading and options?
So here's the general answer to that. Any significant changes to how money is being viewed in America is always a, and why that is specifically because how an options trader makes money is based off of other individuals' ideas of what's occurring in the markets, right? So based
Mm,
off of specific news, for instance, when COVID was released, right? When they released the information about COVID and people having to stay indoors, that negatively impacted a lot of stocks. However, as an options trader, we are profitable whether a stock is to go up or is to go down. Correct. Remember, we talked about the idea of a stock rising when we call it a when we purchase what's called a call, right? And then
mm,
when we believe it's
mm.
going down, we purchase what's called a what? A put, right? So
Yeah, but
from that
yeah,
standpoint, during any season of significant change in the markets, a options trader is always has the opportunity to be gainful. I think that's the short and sweet answer to that question.
okay. And
Okay.
what's the concept of selling calls for premium for premium and uh, like the importance in trading?
So with what we do, we don't typically sell calls for premium because that's a little bit more of a riskier
Okay.
approach to options trading. So we definitely would not recommend selling calls. I mean, sorry, selling any options really as far as, opening a position by selling options. We definitely wouldn't recommend that as a new trader.
And I seen in and I seen in one of your YouTube videos you were talking about um, trading using your LLC. Why is that, and what are the
So,
advantages of
trading
that?
with an LLC account is essentially the same idea as running a business with an LLC account, right? And essentially, it allows you to have specific tax benefits that an LLC would have versus, an individual. So, really, with trading with an LLC, you're leveraging the tax benefits of an actual LLC, actual business LLC, the same as you would for real estate and, so on and so forth.
And what would you say the millionaire trader versus the average regular trader that's making like say $100 a day versus a guy that's making 100K plus a month? What are the mindsets and what are the differences? Is it just like the money, like the bigger amounts of money that they put
It could be
down,
a few
or
factors. One of the main
is it
factors,
strategy?
especially with the range that wide, would definitely be the amount of money being put down, right? However, someone that's making
Hmm.
$100 a week potentially does have access to a lot of capital, but may not have the confidence to trade a significant amount of money on a day to day basis, right? So it's really just that's when it comes down to the
Hmm.
confidence level. Sometimes it may not just be money, right? So the
Yeah.
ultimate outcome probably is money per se, but we're also talking about other occurrences as well as a result of the money, right? We're talking about confidence in using the money, right? Even
Hmm.
competence, like how competent are we in how well we're going to be able to trade options? How much experience and knowledge and wherewithal do we have? That allows us to be successful doing that. That's those are the questions that we should ask ourselves.
And what's some advice for someone that's a high schooler, someone that's pretty young, they want to get into trading? Do you recommend it, or do you think that someone should kind of wait until they're an adult to, be able to have the income to consistently do it, or anyone could
A
pretty
high
much
schooler
start?
should absolutely have a brokerage account. They should ask their parents to open up a brokerage account on their behalf, or even use their own brokerage account, and place a specific amount of money
Hmm.
that they're comfortable with risking for their child, their high school 18-year-old or whichever age, to learn how to do this,
Hmm.
to learn how to become profitable as a trader. Because here's the deal: there's a lot of other skill sets out there, but not quite many are there that give you the ability to have the leverage and lifestyle as a trader does. Okay, so you always want to put your child in the
Yeah.
best situation to be successful, and one of those things is allowing that child to learn a high leverage income skill set. as is options trading.
And and do you have any younger, students in your programs that are
Yeah,
like high
absolutely.
school or like
So we
teens?
actually have a cohort which is called Skip School University, and we go in detail
Oh, that's
about
cool.
children being able to learn our information as well. We actually have a stock market for kids book that is currently available on Amazon as well. So and we have it on our website as well too. So that's something that you guys could pick up for your
Mm.
kids, for your nephews. Usually we grew up as children yearning after like physical gifts like toys and things like that. I think our generation has become a little more conscientious about how we gift and reward our younger generation. It looks
Yeah.
a little less like a new t-shirt or a sweater, and it looks a little more like take this book, take this educational course,
Yeah.
and and read it or watch it, so that you can better your life. But the best part about it is that
Yeah,
our
it's a lot
educational
cooler.
content is interactive and it's enjoyable, so the children are actually enjoying this
Mm.
experience at the same time.
Mm. Yeah, it's a lot cooler now to be like into education and like eat healthy. I know back in like the 80s when my parents, it wasn't cool to go to the gym every day or cool to invest into mentorship and stuff like that. It's a lot of a different time now, and a lot of the younger crowd they're like hip to it and they're catching on really really fast. I see a lot of younger guys making a lot of money with
Yeah,
like trades, crypto when it was like
yeah.
super popular like
Some of
about
the
a year
more
ago or 2 years ago.
popular rap artists are now talking about doing raw vegan diets. Like we've never seen stuff like this
Yeah,
before. Like the younger generation is really getting more in tune with
hella woke.
the information to elevate the human experience. See, I think past generations were
Yeah.
more concerned about how to just manage or live in the status quo. I think the younger generation is more so looking
Hmm.
to elevate that experience. We're not looking to just manage, we're looking to elevate it
Hmm.
and exceed the lifestyle expectations that our former generations had before us, and also live a long life, like doing things that make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing different TikTok
Hmm.
trends from the younger generation regarding like budgeting. You know what I'm saying? Like carpooling.
Hmm.
Like we're talking about young kids carpooling. I think that's really interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a
That's
lot of
that.
different things that they're
Yeah.
doing. So it's just all to say that, as we grow older, we have an understanding now that the younger generations are also still learning and growing as well. So, I usually look at youth as both learning and continuously being more healthy, right? That's how I see youth. Your youth is
Hmm.
really not necessarily in your
Hmm.
age, but in your ability to continuously be an ever learner and someone who's always looking to better their health, right? Because usually people
Hmm.
think you're young
Hmm.
when you look young, right? But also when you have a sharp mind. And a sharp
Yeah.
mind, when you have a sharp mind, it's necessary for you to, essentially get with whatever is going on at that period of time, right? So yeah,
Yeah. So ever since you started like trading, what was like the biggest purchases that you made
yeah,
when it comes to like,
yeah,
damn, I have this amount of money. Like I went from kind of like working my IT job to
yeah.
now traveling and driving nicer cars and stuff like that. What would you say is like the one big purchase that
Yeah,
you're
that's a
like,
great
shit, I
question.
made it?
For me personally, my biggest purchase was my education. I know that sounds redundant, but I actually invested
Mm.
in
No,
a
that's a flex.
mentorship program to learn how to become a better business person.
Mm.
Honestly, what actually ended up happening though was I ended up just becoming a better man in general overall. It's funny how that works. Really,
Mm.
business and entrepreneurship kind of is a great playing field, a great playground to become a better person, because usually to exceed as an entrepreneur, you also have to exceed in healthy ways as an individual, just in general, right? Which is why you see more of your entrepreneurs always in the gym,
Hmm.
right? Always eating healthy, right? Because it's like a success path,
Yeah.
right? Anywho, um, what was the actual, what was the questioning again?
No, just like your biggest purchase.
My
No,
biggest
just like
purchase,
your
right,
biggest
right. So it was
purchase that
education.
you would say.
Education was the biggest purchase. I invested $155,000 into my mentorship program. We generated
Wow,
much more than that
that's
since then.
crazy.
So I'm definitely grateful.
Who? Who? I'm curious. Who was the mentor
My
that kind of like
mentor,
taught
my
you?
mentor is Myron
You know,
Golden.
for
Yeah,
Myron
yeah,
Goldman.
yeah.
I've never heard
He's
of
a
him.
good guy. You should definitely
Oh.
look him up. Um,
And how'd you find him? Or was it through like and how'd you find him? Or was it through like
um,
YouTube or?
I believe my brother found him. I read. I remember reading a book from him uh in like the early 2000s, but my brother was the one that ended up finding him, putting the whole idea on the table, and then we struck on that
So I'm
mentorship.
guessing.
So
So I'm guessing since it was like 150, was it for an entire year or was that just for like just for a
for the
day?
year. Yeah,
Oh wow, dang! So you're able to have
yeah.
his like number and text
Yeah,
him
I mean
and
he
ask him
actually
any
calls me
questions that you had.
sometimes. That's the crazy part. There was actually a time where he was just calling, frequently, because he's actually also a stock market
Hmm.
options trader as well. So we would just talk about different strategies and
Hmm.
some of the profits that we were making in the markets based on what was happening at that given point
Cool.
in time. So that was actually conversation outside of business itself, right? More so into our actual
Hmm.
skill and trade. So yeah, that was probably the most
Uh,
expensive purchase to date, at least cash. And then other than that,
oh shit.
I did celebrate my birthday, my 30th birthday, pretty nicely. I rented a private jet for the first time. That was pretty cool. Um, we flew
Nice.
from DC to Miami, and then we did a yacht party, which was pretty cool. It was actually a pretty cool
Mm,
experience.
That's,
One of my best friends put the whole thing together for me, so we had a pretty good time. And
that's
what
cool.
else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, I bought a Tesla. Um, I bought a Tesla, so that was cool as well. Then I wrapped it and did some cool stuff. It should be on my Instagram somewhere, maybe. I'm not too sure. And then other than that, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I send a lot of money to my parents. I see that more
Oh, that's
of
cool.
a better use of um you know my expenses. I mean, not my expenses. Sorry. My profits. Just because
Hmm.
I've always wanted them to enjoy life even much more than they had done while they were in their younger adult years. So that's one of my favorite things to
Hmm.
do is just to send money to my parents. They both
And
live in Nigeria, so they're back home, live retired
oh,
and
okay.
living their good life.
I was just gonna ask you that. I was just gonna ask you that because I also did a podcast and interviewed. I don't know if you're familiar with Detrice Mosumo.
No, no, I don't think so. Yeah.
Well, no. Well, I just interviewed him, and he was from Liberia, and he was like telling me his story. Like, he came here when he was like 6 years old
Fire.
and stuff like that. Kind of have? Did you have like a similar? Like, did you end up coming here
So,
by yourself, like with
my
other
parents
relatives,
actually
or?
met here in the States. Um, so they met,
Mm,
I want to say maybe between the ages of 18 and 20 here in the States. So they actually
hmm.
gave birth to my siblings and I here in America. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. Yep.
okay. That's cool. That's cool. And they ended up like they moved
Yeah,
back.
they went back home to retire pretty much. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
That's what's up. Yeah. So how does someone recover from a big loss? Like, what would you
um,
recommend?
stepping away from the market at least for a week. readjusting. That's actually a really great time to start coming up with different business ideas. One thing I would always say is that
Mm-hmm.
adversity is when our minds are usually the sharpest, especially as men, because we are
Mm-hmm.
more solution oriented. There's usually a higher level of sense of urgency when something doesn't work out, especially financially, for us to create a solution. So if you do take a big loss in the market, it's definitely time for you to step away and start thinking about different business ideas or business ventures that you can put together so that by the time you do end up bouncing back, when you do make profits, you can inject them into another income generator so that if there does happen to be a big loss, you know that you're not going to be on the sidelines for too long. You'll be able to bounce back based off of
Mm-hmm.
other revenue that you have assisted in generating, from injecting profits into those other business ventures.
And did you see any like big And did you see any like big loss like during
Yeah,
the
for
beginning
sure.
point where
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah,
damn, it
there
kind
was
of
definitely some big
made you not
losses. I
want to
mean,
like do it anymore?
the losses are going to come with the losses are going to come with it. And the whole idea though is to minimize the losses. See, like, my losses gave me lessons, right? Some of those lessons were a little too harsh to learn,
Mm-hmm.
but for the most part, the losses, if you don't quit, they're going to teach you what you need to know so that by the time you need to get where you need to go, you'll be able to sustain it and be able to manage it as well. So that's what big losses will always teach you.
What would you say is like the biggest loss? What would you say is like the biggest
My
loss
biggest loss
that
was
you
twenty
had?
five thousand. I lost 25,000 in a day. My biggest
Mm.
gain last year was $52,400 in 2023. That was my biggest day. My biggest day
Wow.
overall was
Wow.
100K in July 2020 in a day. Yeah,
Damn, that's
so
crazy.
I mean,
That's crazy.
it eventually it all weighed out, right? Because like I
Mm-hmm.
always tell people, what's more important than these big days? Because at the end of the day, this money gets spent. You like don't get it
Yeah.
confused. Like any options trader that makes money consistently is also spending money consistently, because that's the whole idea
Mm-hmm.
of earning money. Not even, and I try not to use the word spend, but circulate, right? Circulate.
Yeah.
Any options trader is
Mm-hmm.
circulating money. It's coming in and then it's going out. It's not, and when I say that, hear me when I say not in a frivolous way, more so in a way of eventually
Mm-hmm.
52,000 in a day turns to zero, meaning there's
Mm-hmm.
52,000 things that money went to that eventually I'm going to need more money for. So what I mean is, what's more important than making money in options trading is the confidence in knowing that at any given point in time, you have the skill set to make money, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
because 52,000 comes and goes, my knowledge, my confidence in making 52,000 again doesn't go. So what's more important, the money itself or the skill set, right? If because if I give you
Skill set. Yeah.
$52,000 today, tomorrow you're going to spend it. And when I say tomorrow, I just mean the future. You're going to spend it. You're going to circulate it, and then
Mm-hmm.
that money is going to eventually come to an end. What doesn't come to an end is the education,
Mm-hmm.
is the confidence, is the experience. Being that I'm an options trader, I always have the ability to make as much money as I potentially can on any given day. That is way more valuable than $52,000, right? And so, um, the best way
Mm-hmm.
to get in contact with us to learn how to become an options trader is literally just contacting us. I'm on Instagram. My Instagram profile is wasi.akin. Okay, we're also on YouTube at Options Snipers University. Both words plural with the S. Options Snipers University. Also on Instagram as well with the same handle. Okay. We also have a Facebook group with the same handle again, Option Snipers University, so that you can tap in, because We have a mentorship where we're allowing people to learn from us in person, and then we send them back home with our course to cement the information that they learned in person. Okay. Not a lot of options traders can actually explain in detail how they're able to make money. Some options traders, for what it's worth, are people that literally just follow a specific trend and, you know, can't replicate that trend. They make money in seasons. That is not what we do at Option Snipers University. We have a systematic approach to how we trade options that allows us to make it something that's consistent. Okay? Because guessing is not consistent. You can't make a consistent living off of guessing. Okay? And that's typically what most options traders do. Definitely not here at Option Snipers University. Our options sniping family is able to teach even after becoming an option sniper student. They can literally teach you how to trade options from A to Z based off of the education that we offer. So if you guys are looking, if you're watching this video now and you're looking to join Option Snipers University, it's going to be very important to contact me, contact go to our any of our social media handles and reach out to us and let us know that you're looking forward to joining us. We have a 5-figure trading challenge where over the course of 5 days virtually, we teach all of our students all of our different strategies and setups that we go over our program with. Okay. We always typically advise our students to purchase a VIP ticket to this 5-day challenge. This is over the course of 5 days. You're able to learn from us for 1 hour each day. Okay. We also give access to our brand new mobile application. Okay. We have the only options trading education mobile app platform that is available out there in the market. Okay. All you got to do is search Options Snipers University in your Apple store and you will see that application. Once you click the application, you'll get all of our information on all the different things that we got going on, our in-person events, our 5-figure trading challenge, our course, everything is there. All right. And make sure you select to allow notifications because we always send notifications with new tips and tricks on all things options trading and some deals on our products and services. So I hope that answers your question, bro.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. What I'll do too also is
Okay.
we're gonna wrap up right now. So it was really informative. I really appreciate you coming on. I know we're kind of um, a little bit
Yeah.
playing phone tag
Yeah.
for a little bit, man. But it's cool.
Yeah.
I understand. You're
Yeah,
super
yeah, and
busy,
I
bro.
appreciate you for calling me on the
So,
show, man. Listen,
but
I definitely love to come back on. I actually would love to bring my brother on as well. Next go around, I
yeah,
definitely hit him up and let him know that I had a great time. Chopping things up with you.
yeah, for sure, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
appreciate it, man. Well, I hope you have a good one. That's it for the Isaac and the Go podcast. I'll see you guys again
Peace.
next week. Have a good one. Peace.